Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of The Realist, a podcast about our real list. I'm your host, Ellis.
And I'm your host, Gloria.
And today we have a selection from me, and this one was a long time coming. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, or Star Wars Rogue One, or Rogue One, or episode 3.5. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
if
have a lot to say about this movie.
Do you really?
I really do.
Okay. I know you've been holding this, so I want to hear everything you have to say.
For anybody who doesn't know, this is just basically a movie of how they got the Death Star plans.
Yes. It is the immediate prequel to A New Hope, which is episode 4, which is the original Star Wars.
Man, I smell like incense.
It's okay. I just smell the perfume I sprayed because of the cat. But this was produced in 2016, or it came out in 2016. It was directed by Gareth Edwards, screenplay by Chris Weitz and Tony Gilroy, story by John Knoll and Gary Whitta, and of course based on many productions by George Lucas, starring Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso, Diego Luna as Cassian something.
He was French, that's all I can remember.
Yeah. And I don't actually know who these names correspond to necessarily. One of these is the pilot, who I can only remember as the pilot, and then... Well, actually, I know Donnie Yen is the Jedi, if you can call him that. And then Alan Tudyk did the voice of K2SO.
Oh!
Yeah.
You know who he is? You know who else he is? He plays Mr. Nobody in Doom Patrol.
He also... Yeah, that's right. I recognized him there. He also plays... if I'm remembering right, his name is... yeah, he's Wash. It says it right here. He's Wash in Firefly. He's the pilot in Firefly. Which, I need to show you Firefly and Serenity. Serenity's on the movie list. Firefly is a single-season sci-fi series that goes with it.
Okay.
It is very, very positively regarded. But anyway, it takes place in the Star Wars universe right before Episode 4. As Gloria said, it's a story of how they got the Death Star plans, and it has a really fun and, it is a fun spread of characters, and it explores a sort of moral gray area that we don't normally look at in Star Wars, because in Star Wars we're used to the good guys being good and the bad guys being bad, and sometimes somebody gets a redemption arc like Darth Vader or like Kylo Ren, but but in general the characters aren't super dynamic, they definitely aren't super gray, whereas in Rogue One they are very gray. So I want to know what you thought of it, because we went into this and I had to convince you to watch this, because I brought it up a few times and you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, but then you gave me the choice between Atomic Blonde or Rogue One, and I was like, you know what, let's just watch Rogue One. I'm in the mood for some sci-fi, for some Star Wars. You know, I can watch some Star Wars right now. And so watching it, I was like, this movie takes off very slowly.
It is a little bit of a jumble at the beginning, I will admit.
At first glance, I was like, what was the guy's name?
Which one? Cassian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not the French guy. The prick, the guy,
the prick. Oh God, I know exactly who you're talking about. Director Krennic.
Yeah, fuck him. Fuck him, okay? Fuck him. He just coming up in here and fucking ruined Jin's life, okay? Fucking taking her dad, killing her mom.
We were this close to greatness. Also, so many great meme templates in this movie.
Fuck him, though. Honestly, fuck him. And his small ego and his will for power. Fuck him.
We're gonna have, first of all, this video is already demonetized. Second of all, this is your counterpart to my rant on what's her name in Rent.
Maureen.
Yeah, and Maureen in Rent. But that's he is a great villain. And I enjoyed...
I hated him automatically. Hated him.
Well, he even got the stereotypical just murdering someone in the first 5 minutes out of the way to show how bad of a bad
He
guy he
shot
is.
a woman in the stomach.
Yeah.
How worse can you get?
Uh, well, he just ordered someone to do it. And in return, he got nailed by the Death Star directly at the end.
Good.
But I like how they get into, because this is a guy you've never heard of before this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Every character they introduce over the course of this film that doesn't show up in any other property dies. All of the main characters, most of the side characters.
Disclaimer: you can't introduce me to a character and then fucking kill them at the end, because then you grow to love them. You can't do that to me, okay? You cannot do that to me. I'm a sensitive
We just
being.
watched. The last movie we recorded was Rent.
Yes.
And I know no one died at the end, but people died in the middle.
Yes, I know this, but Angel had AIDS. There was no cure for AIDS in 1989.
I mean, space AIDS.
Space AIDS. You have space AIDS.
Oh, okay. But this, I don't remember. I was trying to go off on about the bureaucracy of the Empire. You get a window into what politics in Star Wars is like right before A New Hope. That's not something we've really seen otherwise, not to my knowledge. The Senate still exists. The Empire exists and is just sort of, I mean, they're not at war, but the rebels exist to counter the Empire in a military way, and the Senate exists to counter the Empire in a political way. Of course, we all know that Emperor Palpatine was in control of the Senate, and at the beginning of A New Hope, with the revelation that the Death Star is fully armed and operational, the Senate is dissolved. And Palpatine goes from a guy who's in charge of the Senate to ruler of the galaxy, probably in about the span of a week. It's a really short amount of time.
I am the Senate.
Yeah. And I will just touch on time here. I love this movie because of how well it fits into the beginning of episode 4. And Word of God says it's about 48 hours between the ending scene of Rogue One and the beginning of A New Hope. So, the ending scene, and I'm not talking about the most awesome scene in the movie, which is actually kind of a tough call, but the Darth Vader hallway scene. And then Leia takes off on the ship, it escapes into hyperspace, and then you can assume that Darth Vader spent the next 2 days trying to track that ship down and eventually cornering it and taking it down over Tatooine.
My question is, did Darth Vader know that Princess Leia was his daughter?
I don't know. That's sort of like an episode 4 question. I don't know.
I feel like if you looked this up on the internet, they would know the answer, but
I think he does. Because I mean, he I don't recall.
I'm looking it up.
Okay, I don't recall there
looking it
being a moment in the trilogy, in the original trilogy, where Palpatine is like, "They're your kids," and they just kissed. Like, yeah, I don't remember that moment.
Vader learned that Leia was his daughter by sensing it from Luke at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay, so
Vader,
he didn't know until the very end of the original trilogy.
yeah, Vader learned about Luke after he sent Boba to capture Luke alive, but Luke escaped and Boba only managed to learn his name Skywalker.
Okay, yeah. You were right, we need to rewatch Star Wars. I haven't seen the original trilogy in many, many years, and I actually have never seen episode 3.
And you're supposed to be a nerd?
I was never the proclaimed Star Wars nerd here. That was you.
You know what? I didn't come here to get attacked.
Yeah, well. I was just like, oh, Rogue One, it's a Star Wars story. It's not in the main story. It takes place right before Episode 4. And you were just like, nah, I don't really care. And then when we sat down to watch it, you were like, so wait, is this before Darth Vader or after Darth Vader? And I was like, it's before Episode 4, A New Hope. And you had like several clarifying questions.
I had brain farts, okay? I haven't watched Star Wars in a hot minute. The last thing that I watched was Star Wars related was The Mandalorian.
Well,
And Rogue One now, so.
yeah. But, I mean, I enjoy seeing the politics. I enjoy seeing the bureaucracy. I enjoy seeing the jockeying for the approval of the Emperor
Mm-hmm.
and the positions, you know, between Krennic and Grand Moff Tarkin, which love that guy, love to hate that guy. Them trying to assume control over the Death Star
Oh,
is.
that's great. It's like watching two high school girls fight over popularity.
I was gonna say it's something. It's almost like if you had a.
Toddlers.
No, I was gonna say like it's office politics. It's office politics on a giant planet-killing space station. That's what it is. Um, and then going to your boss's subordinate and being like, "Hey, can you put in a good word with the big guy so that I get control of my space station back?" And that was again one of my favorite bits in the film. I mean, everything with Darth Vader is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And
Love me some Darth Vader.
it's nice how he's used just sparingly. Like he shows up once to remind you that he exists, and that he's got an awesome castle on Mustafar,
Mm-hmm.
and then he chokes Krennic out and delivers a dad joke, and then he shows up and just slashes rebels to bits. Uh, it's fantastic.
I love the editing that they did with this movie
Oh
because
yeah.
the actor who played Grand Moff Tarkin actually died.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have to think about Carrie Fisher passing away. And the moment I saw Grand Moff Tarkin like walk on scene, like I looked at Ellis and I was like, "Is he like CGI edited?" And Ellis was like, "Yeah, I think he died."
Yeah.
And I was like, they did a phenomenal job because I could tell because the way that he was animated. Like he didn't look like Krennic when Krennic was talking. He looked like animated.
In fairness, the actual fella, I believe it's Peter Cushing, right, was the original Grand Moff Tarkin. Uh, he's kind of weird looking. He's got like the really pronounced
Really
cheekbones,
sucked
yeah,
in face.
and so he's kind of a weird looking dude anyway. No offense, but when he showed up, when I saw him in Rogue One, I'm not sure I realized that it was CG the first time around. And then when it clicked, I thought, I went back. I was like, whoa, that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a body double that they overlaid his face on,
Mhm.
basically.
Like they did with the other person. Like they did with the girl who did Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, so they had de-aged Princess Leia, again, a body double, and overlaid a younger face.
Leia.
It was, it's pretty phenomenal. I mean, Princess Leia's in the movie for 5 seconds, but,
Yeah, but they did good by Carrie Fisher, and I support that.
yes. When I saw it in theaters, Carrie Fisher had just passed away, if I'm remembering right.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big, like, sort of like in Afterlife, where it was for Egon, there was a big, like, in memory of Carrie Fisher at the end.
I love that.
And actually, I can't see now. I can't remember if it was this movie or if it was one of the other Star Wars movies. But point is, they did something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's nice. And not just the CG on the actors, or on the actor and actress that they were faking. Also, just everything else in the movie, all the special effects are absolutely top notch.
Everything is great. Like if I if I could pick apart like one thing that I didn't like about this movie, it'd probably be Krennic.
Well,
Just
yeah, I mean, no kidding. He's the bad guy.
just not because he's the bad guy, just because they poorly portrayed him as a bad guy. And I know you said that he did a really good job, but I think he was poorly portrayed as the bad guy. If they wanted him to be more of a bad guy, they should have, made him look more like Grand Moff Tarkin. If you want to portray a bad guy, but without him looking like a bad guy, you have to give him more definition as like his appearance.
He has to look evil, you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think evil can be any color.
I mean, yes, evil can be any color,
so
but at the same time, like, it just made me think. I was like, he doesn't look evil. Like, is he gonna do like the character switch? Like, is he gonna be bad and then he's gonna become good because he sees that he's doing wrong?
No.
But then no, he was just a giant asshole anyways who wanted to control the Death Star.
I think he fits it pretty well. I think he looks the part.
I mean, I didn't like him as soon as I saw him, so...
Well, he's not very likable. But I guess I see where you're going for. In a world where the evil people do all look really evil, he does sort of look pretty normal. He does. You're right. And... yeah, I don't know. That's something that I hadn't considered. I was thinking about the special effects again, though. And I'm thinking about, of course, the blockbuster scene with the two Star Destroyers crashing into one another, and then down into the shield.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that whole space battle
great.
sequence.
I love seeing the little...
No.
I love seeing the ship, like, crash into the destroyer and just pushing its small little self into this destroyer, and then forcing that destroyer into another destroyer. Like, it's a fantastic scene.
The thing that, and I'm just sort of trying to nail down some of the complaints I saw on the internet, and that's one of them was, of course, the connection to A New Hope and the dialogue between Leia and Darth Vader. And she's like, oh no, we're on a diplomatic mission, and Darth Vader, in his head, presumably, knowing the context of Rogue One, is like, I just saw you fly away from this giant space battle. I was there.
I watched you leave with those plans. You can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah. But I don't think it's that big of an issue, because what else was she going to say? Oh yeah, we totally...
Oh yeah, we totally stole these plans, and you're not gonna get them. You're gonna have to kill me for it. Okay.
Yeah, they
Force
had...
choke.
She, being who she was, had the backing of the Senate and the Council, and all she had to do was provide a lie that would be convincing enough to them, because what was Darth Vader going to do? He's still beholden to Palpatine, and at that point in time, still beholden to the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's, part of
do your eyebrows.
Stop! You say that every episode.
I'm sorry. Senate.
I'm not trying to say that the Emperor or the Empire is beholden to the Senate necessarily, but what I am trying to say is they couldn't just kidnap Leia and call it a day.
No.
And so, if Vader was going to do that, presumably, if Vader was going to do that, they would have to end up going before the Senate, and she would have to say, no, we were on a diplomatic mission, and Palpatine isn't going to say, well, actually, they just come from the space battle, where they stole the plans to the space station that doesn't exist, that just blew up a town. But, of course, as we know, or as I mentioned earlier, as soon as the Death Star comes online, Palpatine dissolves the Senate. So, then all that stuff is out the window. But she was doing the best she could.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a plot hole necessarily. It's just Leia Organa having balls of steel and lying in the face of Darth Vader, her dad.
No F's given.
Yeah, and then she gets grounded. But
gets grounded? You mean she got thrown in prison?
Yeah, exactly.
She watches her home get blown away by the Death Star, and then she gets thrown in jail. That's not grounding. That's life crumbling. Like the life
I mean,
question.
it's grounding when your dad is Darth Vader. You know, it's like different.
Darth Father.
Darth. Yeah, I mean that's what
Dark
Vader
Father.
means in Dutch.
Yeah.
Uh, but the other bit that I was trying to come around to was that scene, and people saying like, "Well, why did one just crash through the other and not like, just nudge it or whatever?" And how did the little Hammerhead Corvette manage to make such an impact? And it's like, first of all, have you ever seen tugs? Uh, and second of all, the first one was the first Star Destroyer had its engines disabled. The second one did not,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was trying to maintain station, maintain position, while this other destroyer was just cutting through it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That was a crazy scene.
it was so beautiful too, and it was, if I'm remembering right, it was digitally scanned physical models that they had, brought in and then done the animation with, done the
Wow.
CG with. So they didn't mess around. That's why this had a budget of $220 million. Uh, um, and between that and all of the rest of the space battle, all of the stuff that happens on Scarif, um, it's all so high budget and high quality. And did you notice the videos, the cockpit videos of Red Leader and Gold Leader and stuff?
No.
Well, that was stock footage from episode 4 that was reused
Oh,
or
was
like
it?
unused footage from episode 4. So, yeah, that was right out of that. Uh and also during the course of that battle Red 5 dies. He gets chased off by like 4 or 5 TIE fighters and blown up. And then in the
Mm-hmm.
next episode, Luke is the new Red 5. So that's what opened up. You get to see what opened up the spot for him in the squadron.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of. It isn't filling in plot holes so much, just making more backstory. Um, I like this movie very much. This is my favorite Star Wars movie, and I I don't have anything substantiative to back it up, but I would say it's the best. I think it's the best single Star Wars movie. People point to Empire Strikes Back a lot, and that's a good movie, but without Return of the Jedi, you don't get a whole story. It was designed as a first half of two movies, sort of like Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Uh where you're left with cliffhangers and you don't kill the big bad by the end of episode 5.
See, the thing is, like, when I watched this movie, I was sitting here and I was cracking jokes throughout the entire movie because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And watching this movie, I was like, why it's so slow? Why is it so like this movie is just so slow paced and so dark and it's just like it started so dark
Mm-hmm.
and very gray tones like you said before, and all the other movies are just vibrant colors and everything, and it made me think of how it was, Anakin and his mother, and then you have Luke and his aunt and uncle, and then you have Jin who was with her father and mother before she was basically orphaned off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like they always have these characters that are orphans,
Yeah.
so to
Even
speak.
even Ray.
Oh yeah, even Ray in like they have all these orphaned characters who rise above being without parents and do better, and it's inspiring to most younger generations, or kids who grew up without parents, and I don't know.
Little engines can do big things.
Exactly.
Uh, maybe that'll be on the movie list someday. Jesus Christ. Uh, but no, and you're absolutely right. It does jump around a lot at the beginning because it's trying to show us, okay, there are these characters and these characters and these characters. Well, namely, it's Cassian, the pilot,
Hmm.
and Jin.
Hmm.
I almost called her Ray. But it's establishing those three, and then they start to come together. Jin is brought in by the rebels to get an audience with Saul Guerrera,
Hmm.
and the Death Star is fired off. Also, oh my god, this is what I keep what keeps flashing in my mind, the first shot of the Death Star, when you see the Star Destroyer come out of the shadow of the main weapon that's being moved into place there. What a shot. And then you get to meet Grand Moff for the first time. So, yeah, it is a reminder that the rebels aren't all, they might be good guys, but that doesn't mean they're good guys. You know, they, or rather, you know, they might be the good guys, but that doesn't mean they're all good guys.
So in one of the newer Star Warses, I think there was they realized that there was a mole on the ship when I think it was when it was Kylo.
Yeah, I think that was that episode 8. I think that might have been episode 8.
Yeah, because he was a part of the Empire.
Yep.
The
First Order.
First Order, sorry.
The Empire, but angrier. Keep talking. Don't get distracted.
All right. Well, I think we should jump into our star ratings.
Absolutely. And I am really torn. I really want to give it 5 stars. I might just do it for the laugh because I love this movie. If there's any Star Wars movie I could watch over and over again, it's Rogue One.
Well, we have a DVR, so you can always watch it.
You're right. I can. It's saved. It's saved there. That's how we watch this movie.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
You're gonna give it a 5?
I'm gonna give it a 5 because
okay.
I thought it was really well put together, and I thought that it was. I felt that it was very well put together, and I felt that it had a nice ending where you get to see Leia.
Nice.
Nice quote unquote.
Nice quote unquote.
You get to
Not
see,
everyone dies, but it's really
everybody
nice.
dies, but you get to see Carrie Fisher reborn.
She's worth it.
She's worth it. She is worth it. Like I said, you can't let Goya get attached to a character because then she'll be very upset about it. Watching the scene where the Death Star hit Scarif, and I mean, what's his name again?
Which one? The fact that it nailed Krennic?
Yeah, the fact that the Death Star hit the communication tower and then hit Krennic, and Grand Moff is just sitting there and the Death Star smiling down at Scarif because he knows that Krennic's on that planet.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh, you're evil, but you're good at being evil, And,
yeah, he's like, they show up, they hear about the attack at Scarif, and Grand Moff is in charge of the Death Star at this point, and he's like, where's Director Krennic? And they're like, oh, Krennic is on Scarif. And he's like, okay, good, we're going to jump the Death Star there. We're going to bring the Death Star there and blow it up.
He's evil, and he knows how to be evil. He knows how to work it.
He knows how to work
it. But I loved this movie. I thought it was really well put together, and it opens your eyes to right into episode 4.
Yep.
And that's all I could ask for, because me being a Star Wars nerd, I love it.
And you being a Star Wars nerd, allegedly, the canon is a disaster and always has been. But when Disney came in and expunged a lot of the non-movie and TV show stuff, that paved the way for them to sort of rewrite stuff and tighten it up a little bit. And I think Rogue One does a really good job of filling in this, not hole, but question of, well, how do they get the Death Star plans in the first place?
Because I've always wondered that, watching this movie. I've always wondered, well, how do they get the plans in the first place?
Mm-hmm. And now you know. It involved climbing up the side of a giant rack of hard drives.
Stardust!
Yeah.
Stardust!
Oh, man, Star Wars really loves their just giant holes in the ground for no reason. Giant vertical pits. I don't think there's been a single Star Wars movie without somebody falling down a giant pit.
You know who we didn't talk about this entire time?
Who?
Fucking K2.
Yeah, I brought up K2 briefly. Alan Tudyk does an incredible job as this snarky droid who can't keep his mouth shut. Yeah.
I loved him, okay? I was like, he's my favorite character next to the Blind Jedi.
Yeah.
They're sassy, and it sad watching this robot die. I know you hate the robots, babe, but it's sad.
Well, no, this is fine because this isn't a real robot, and also it's Alan Tudyk.
Well, it was sad watching him die, and I was like, oh, this poor
It's a
bean.
long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. There are no stop and shops for these guys to take over.
And watching the scene where he's just getting shot up by stormtroopers, and he's just like, "You guys do it all on your own." And he just slams his hands into the desk and closes the doors. I'm like, no, no.
It's it's awful, and
It's heart wrenching.
90% of the best lines in the film
Oh my
are
God.
his, and the other 10% is Darth Vader giving a dad joke.
Mm-hmm.
He's the ultimate dad in Star Wars. I don't see
He
why
is the
people get
ultimate
upset
dad.
about it. But anyway, what are we watching next?
What are we gonna watch next? I think My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. We also just got Caddyshack on DVD, and I could use something funny, so I really want to watch Caddyshack.
We got Caddyshack. We got a whole bunch of other movies on DVD now. So
We've got a list to complete.
yes.
Haha, it's never going to be completed. That's a joke.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go watch a movie.
Hey,
This-
babe,
you
let's-
covered the ending in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Hey, babe. Wanna watch a movie?